Hello and welcome all to our Kite Perspective event series. This is now the fourth time we're running this event series, which we always held on a Wednesday from 12 to 12:30. And each time we hone in on a very specific expertise topic. This is the first event of a series of 5 events. We're focusing towards technology innovation and consulting excellency in the utilities industry. And for everyone who doesn't know us, Kite Consulting is a boutique strategy-led, Oracle-centric consulting business. We are based out of Melbourne, but we have people across Australia. And at the moment, our team is 15 to 20 consultants strong. We have a very strong focus on CX-led business transformations, specifically to help organizations connecting their back-end systems, often legacy systems, with their front-end customer interfacing technologies. And today I'd like to welcome Nick Birrell, Vice President at Oracle for the Utilities and Water Industry and the strategy team. Hello, Nick.
Hi, Anita. Great to be with you here today.
Thank you so much for joining me here today. And Nick, as way of introduction, what brought you into the utilities industry?
Well, good question. I've been in the utilities sector for probably more than 20 years. Can you believe it? I came across originally from an IT perspective, and then really have seen worked in utilities globally, and then also with Oracle helping design and come up with new product innovation on the Oracle side of things.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And our paths somewhat crossed while I was at Oracle as well. So how many years are you with Oracle now?
I'm probably about 15 years with Oracle. So a while, yes, a while.
Absolutely amazing. So today, we really want to hone into the Australian utilities, sector of, some of the key challenges and trends you see around the utilities experience economy. So with that, I hand over to you, Nick.
Thank you very much, Anita, and hello to everyone who is watching and listening today. It's a pleasure to be here. So I think here the stats on this page really draw out the changing attitudes of energy and water customers and are a good way to start this session on the experience economy. In a nutshell, customer expectation of their utilities or their energy retailer is changing. Looking at the stats here, 73% of customers wanted to be offered personalised discounts and offers. No longer are they expecting a generic offer. They're increasingly wanting something that is particular to their circumstance. 57% stated their desire for a choice in the way they interact with utilities and through a variety of communication channels. Furthermore, there are some really interesting intergenerational differences here. For an example, I think from memory, boomers, they're still preferring to pick up the phone, while a mobile app is now paramount for Gen Z and millennials. And Gen Z and millennials are generally less keen on the traditional direct debit method, preferring flexible digital options instead. And on to the next stat here, 52% responded that they believed it was important to have low carbon and renewable energy options. But then 64% said their energy provider had never mentioned it to them. And finally here, 44% of respondents were looking for utilities to provide them with goods and services alongside the core water or energy offering. That being things such as solar panels and home batteries, EV purchases, and other things like that. So times they're really changing for the consumer in the energy and water sector. We don't have to go back very far, of course, when the customer was simply the ratepayer. But now, and especially in the energy sector, that relationship is further evolving. More than ever, consumers are becoming active grid participants. They're adopting solar, batteries, and electric vehicles, and no longer are consumers at the edge of the grid. They're now both consumers and producers of electricity, or what we call prosumers. And I guess we could say that your customers are evolving to become your partners. And of course, water and energy consumers draw from experiences they learn from their engagements with more mature digital organisations and industries such as, rideshare apps and streaming services. And this is fundamentally shaping their expectation of what good service looks like in utility.
So Nick, I have a quick question to that. So those trends are super interesting, and and this is just a judgment call. industry insights you have, how many of the Australian utilities organisations do you think are able today to cater for those expectations? Percent.
Well, that's a good question. And to a large extent, I'll be offering a sort of like a rough sort of educated guess from my side of things. I would think that all utilities, one way or another, are actually thinking about these things. All utilities understand that need to focus on customer. You only have to open up the executive statement, the executive front page of any annual report from utilities, and you see the need to focus on the customer. However, I would suspect that not many utilities actually have fulfilled this vision to the extent that other industries might have done so already.
Yeah, fully agree. Thank you.
Okay. Well, this is now moving on to what the experience economy is, and we hear a lot from our own customers about how their business models how they're being disrupted due to technology innovation. And utilities are different. As I've just mentioned before, utilities are differentiating more and more on the customer experience due to what we talked about before, the raised customer expectations and the diminishing brand loyalty that they're getting. So today, the experience a brand provides its customer, or maybe their partner, as the case now might be, is now as important as the actual product or service being delivered itself. So as consumers, we've come to expect that our packages, as an example, will arrive in hours, or our Uber rides come in minutes, or the answer to a question we ask comes in milliseconds. And this is what we call the experience economy. So the experience economy, in the experience economy, the relationship that a brand has with its customers is being primarily transformed in 4 primary ways. The first is how they discover each other. So for the customer, it's all about doing their own product research well before connecting with the brand. So whether that be on social, through review sites, or via their own networks. But for brands or for utilities, it's all about being in the constant path of discovery to find out who their customers are, what they really want, how to reach them with the right messages at the right time, and of course, on their preferred channel. And I refer back to the intergenerational differences I mentioned just before. The second one here is around engagement. So brands or utilities no longer control how and when they engage with their customers. The end customer does. It's no longer just about the bill. And for utilities, historically and traditionally, your one piece of communication with your utility was through the bill. But now, obviously, it's well beyond that. The customer journey is also no longer linear, and every customer, regardless of whether they are B2B or B2C, expects an experience that's unique to them. So customers interact with brands on their own terms now, rather than sort of following, a prescribed pathway that was previously dictated to them. The third box here that I've got here is around consume or consumption. And across B2B and B2C, the way customers consume products is changing dramatically, impacting the very nature of what it means to buy and own that product or service. And indeed, this is very evident in the water industry, the water and energy industry that I see today. And finally, the last one there around service, the traditional, break it and fix it model doesn't cut it in the experience economy. When your product doesn't work, or when there's an outage, when the service is being disrupted, you can't make it your customer's problem. And so leading utilities, leading organisations are using things like predictive techniques to automate, to diagnose, to repair these things. And this is becoming obviously a huge source of differentiation for them. And across all these areas, a brand or utility must now enable whoever within their organisation gets to the customer first.
Excellent. There's a message here from Dane who says he hasn't heard of the terminology prosumer yet, and he will be sharing that back with his Snowy Hydro colleagues. So
yes,
so it's to learn something new. Yeah. Thank you, Dane.
Yeah, thanks, Dane. So I just mentioned before that a utility or brand must now enable whoever within their organisation gets to the customer first, and this is forcing customer engagement specialists within organisations, within utilities, to think very differently and to shift focus to what we call micro moments. So making sure that every moment matters. The issue here, of course, is that a shift to micro moments raises some big challenges. As in the experience economy, we're expected to firstly know customers better than they know themselves, while at the same time respecting their privacy, which is a massive issue, as we all know, in the digital world, and building trust. And that's an even bigger issue in today's digital world. We're expected to make campaign promotions seem invisible, as an example, but being sure to anticipate customers' needs before they even do. And we're expected to engage with customers on their terms at the time and channel of their choosing. And then finally here, critically, focusing on the micro moments means that we need to think beyond the silos of marketing, sales and service. As you know, let's be honest, customers don't think like that. So we need to mimic how they think. So this slide here is sort of pointing out that every different industry has their own customer micro moments. And indeed, the water and energy sectors have some different micro moments between one another as well. And indeed, two utilities in the same sector, as an example, two retailers may also have different micro moments amongst them. So up here, I've listed a few here that we are focusing on at Oracle, such as the obvious ones: new customer, high bill, and leak detected, as an example. But also some of the newer moments that we're currently focusing on, such as those surrounding the purchase of solar panels or adopting a new electric vehicle. So this is indeed our approach at Oracle. At Oracle, how we're focusing on these things and how we're trying to bring up the experience economy. And this, I guess, conceptualization of these micro moments continually evolves. And reality, and to be honest, I really encourage you guys in your own organizations to sit down with your teams and identify and work through your own micro moments if you haven't already done this already. The point of all this, of course, is to better understand your customer. So from these micro moments or touch points between you and the customer, you can start to map out what the customer wants and what the customer expects. What channels will they interact with you on? What segments of the market will use this channel? And then, most importantly, what levels of personalization can you deliver to the customer to ensure a level of experience uniqueness? And that this concept of uniqueness, or sometimes the term hyper-personalization is used, is very important to the modern customer and really helps to empower your what we call the experience economy. Point to make here is that this is where you need to be on the lookout for all the signals that customers and prospects provide. And this indeed helps to deliver on that personalised experience.
Yeah, I think it's really fair to say customers nowadays, and I think that's cross-industry, they really expect also to be known to an organisation, specifically, service providers, which they may be a customer with since many, many years, right? There's nothing more frustrating to not being valued as a long-lasting customer and be known to the organisation, and therefore expect sort of personalised, relevant communication.
Yeah, absolutely, Anita, couldn't agree more. So on this slide here, we're talking about the identifying and being able to respond quickly and effectively to all these signals that's happening about the customer throughout your enterprise. It's all really about how do you actually master the customer data. And the trouble is, in most cases, your customer data, including the data you need to add value to the actual experience itself, is actually siloed across your organisation, as you can see here. It's very common for us to see billing and metering data siloed away from customer experience, which in turn is siloed away from operations. So when there is a signal coming from your network management system, as an example, if you do indeed have one, let's say it's a water acoustic detector that's picked up a small leak in a pipeline, okay? This information often is not surfaced back to your impacted customers in a meaningful and personalised way that will encourage them to act upon this. Using an example in the energy sector, at Oracle, we provide capability to disaggregate interval meter reads, which means we can very, very confidently predict who is actually charging an electric vehicle at their home. But this information, unfortunately, has limited value to the customer and ultimately, the utility, if we can't actually connect this information back to the customer and use it to drive your desired behaviours. That might be such as getting the customer to switch to a time of use tariff and charging their vehicle at a more cheaper time at night time. And this obviously is all about helping to promote the retention of that customer. So a point I would like to make is that connecting data to your customers across your whole ecosystem, this is by no means a trivial exercise. And the data that we need to connect goes beyond the traditional view of customer engagement. What this means is that customer engagement is now well beyond just integrating your marketing, sales, and service applications. For CX to truly be strategic, I believe anyway, and to enable the experience economy, we recommend attempting at the very least, but connecting your back-end business with your customers.
Yeah, I love what you say here, Nick. Sorry to interrupt. Is exactly the conversations we see on the market across utilities companies. I think there's more and more recognition that customer experience can only successfully be driven if the front-end systems are deeply connected with the back-end systems to provide those seamless processes, seamless experiences. And you're talking about the billing aspect, I think specifically as pricing increases left and right center and consumers are challenged with just, household bills. They want to be empowered to see their real-time meter usage, understand the impact to the invoices they get in the end of the month or the end of the quarter in order to change maybe their consumer behavior to drive the invoicing down. So, and that simple use case just requires deep integration to the back-end systems of the organization.
Yeah, no, very true, Anita. And one of the themes that we often play back on at Oracle is that modern CX, modern customer engagement, has very much become a data-driven initiative as opposed to an application initiative. So it's all about the data.
Yeah.
And bringing that data out in the moments that matter for the customer. So then, we've talked about how hard it is from a silo when all your data is sort of siloed. But for an exceptional customer experience to occur, it's important to leverage data resources from across your enterprise. It's important to recognize that this happens when your enterprise data and your processes come together, not just from the front of the house systems like marketing, sales, and service, as you've just talked about, Anita, but also critical back-end systems like your customer information system, your meta management system, finance, outage, field service, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on. So, for example, to manage a high bill complaint, it's time to move away from the standard experience we often offer customers, and that is to let them dial in and, wait for a while with the music on to connect to a call specialist, who often, I might add, is very capable and very friendly, but it's that waiting process. A far better experience is potentially to leverage those data heads. A far better experience, from my view anyway, is to leverage data insights beyond the metering and billing platform so that you can actually project that a customer's bill is actually trending high in the first place. And then in the channel of their choice, communicate that information to the customer so they've got a chance to change their consumption behaviours and to avoid the high bill in the first place. Also, of course, essential to a connected customer experience are things like identity management, single sign-on, encryption, security, process agility, and other things like that actually become a lot harder to coordinate when a customer experience is dependent on the data and capabilities from multiple systems. And this is here obviously where the benefits of a modern cloud platform comes into play, as it provides all of this. And then most importantly, it allows your own information technology. Sorry, my slide is progressing forward for some silly reason, but getting back to the point here, one of the most important reasons here about a modern cloud platform is that it allows your own IT to focus on some of the experience differentiation and not just keeping the lights on. So these are all the components that are required to create a connected customer experience and to master what we call the experience economy. So moving on here, interestingly, IDC, and IDC is a leading market analyst in the utility sector, also has a very similar view. Their assertion here is that horizontal CRM is dead, and that's quite a catchy tag, I thought, but that was what they said. And this is based on the premise that utilities require CRMs that are vertically integrated into their back office systems and that are not simply just standalone applications. Their survey here revealed that approximately 60% of utilities are seeking industry CX cloud suites that feature standardized and pre-configured processes for support for their complex workflows. And like I mentioned before, modern CX in utilities is now more a data-driven initiative and not so much focused on the application. So that's important. And just moving here to the chart on the right, it's also quite revealing, which is why I included it. When 201 utilities were asked about the integration between back and front office systems, almost 50% of respondents indicated they were experiencing issues, highlighting the fact that creating a connected customer experience, drawing in insights from across your enterprise in the moments that matter is absolutely not a trivial exercise. And this is precisely why at Oracle we've chosen to go the productized integration route in order to reduce this risk for utilities.
Yeah, it's great that you say that, Nick, because I also see, with the customers we work, we see there's definitely challenges, right? It's the definition of the process flow, of the data flow, how the systems interact with each other and whatnot. So it can become quite complex by the time you have legacy systems in play and a range of different systems from different vendors. So going with, I guess, one solution stack is definitely something where we see, that drives, a lot of effort and cost benefits, but also essentially or eventually drives the strategic advantage to an organization.
Yep, correct. The other secret sauce that we focus on at Oracle is using behavioural methods in customer engagements to improve your enterprise-wide metrics. And this is most prevalent in our OPAL offerings, which focus on providing customer experiences that lead customers to take action on things like energy efficiency and decarbonisation, amongst other things. Its ability to improve the enterprise metrics can be seen here on the page. You see here across energy efficiency, customer satisfaction, program adoption, just to mention a few of them. And there is plenty of research out there, including from us at Oracle, that says on average customers give utilities, about 10 minutes per year, give or take a couple of minutes, so 10 minutes. So in reality, that's not much. So the bulk of this time, of course, probably gets chewed up reading the bill. So even if you can connect the back end to the front end and start to master the experience economy, if you can't influence your customers towards your organizational end, then you'd have to say, well, what's the point, right? So how do you help nudge your customers to the action you're seeking? And it's here where we say enter behavioral science. And this focuses on how emotions and social factors influence human decisions. And this probably could get quite deep quite quickly, couldn't it? But it's here where it's probably worth introducing the work of a guy called Dr. Robert Cialdini. He's a psychologist at Arizona State University, and he conducted an experiment 1 month to gauge the effectiveness that different messages had on, in this case, the different messages had on energy efficiency. So basically, one day his team walked around San Diego in the States, and they hung a series of 5 door hangers with energy-saving messages on several hundred homes. The message on the first door hanger was simply titled, "Save money by using less energy." And that was mapped to a benefits behavioural approach, the benefit being that you're saving money. The second door hanger was protect the environment. And this mapped to an agency behavioural approach, and that was all about your sense of control. The third door hanger was around benefit society, and that appealed to your sense of responsibility. The fourth message was simply on the door hanger was summer is here and it's time to save energy. And the message on the fifth one was that the majority of your neighbours are saving energy. And this mapped to what's called a descriptive norms approach, which is all about comparing individual behaviours to established norms. Now, I actually wish I had a poll here, as it would be interesting to hear what you all thought that was the winning one. Well, if you thought it was the first one, saving money, well, you're wrong. Also wrong was the second, third, and fourth one. All these four had minimal effect. But the fifth one, which mentioned the neighbours, produced a significant 10% drop in home energy usage. So obviously here, in this scenario, people like to compare themselves to their neighbours.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. Hey? It's a great story because it helps to explain why just supplying information on home energy use or water conservation, this does not always move the needle on a homeowner's desire to prioritise these things. And this is just one example of how getting the behavioural science right in your customer engagement helps lead to a meaningful outcome. And other behavioural methods in various combinations can also influence a variety of customer actions. And this is a descriptive norms or comparison approach, and this works well for sustained energy savings. But a benefits and salience behavioural message also works really well to drive valuable one-time actions, like helping customers to sign up for an e-bill, or convincing them to sign up for an e-bill, or maybe redeeming a water tank rebate, as an example. And then, as evidence of its effectiveness, or the behavioural approach effectiveness, we've estimated that over the years, our O-Power solution, which the guy, Dr. Cialdini, who did this experiment, he actually founded the O-Power solution of us, and we eventually acquired that solution. Oracle eventually acquired that solution. Over the years, using behavioural messaging approach, it's saved a total cumulative of nearly 35 terawatt per hours of energy, and still counting. So that is nearly a half of New South Wales' total energy consumption. So that's a great example of showing people that behavioural-based messaging can really help customers to a specific action that you're trying to get them to.
Love that story, Nick.
Yeah, it's a good one, hey? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely amazing. Yes.
Yeah, it's all about how you say it. So that's pretty exciting stuff around behavioural messaging, right? So I guess so what are we doing at Oracle? Well, I guess we're building out a suite of what we call purpose-built customer solutions that focus on the entire energy and water experience economy. Our focus is very much leveraging the many horizontal energy industry solutions that Oracle already has, but that we're taking these and building them out specifically to fit energy and water requirements. So, in other words, taking the best from our proven and widely deployed horizontal solutions and then adapting them to all the peculiarities that we see in the energy and water sector. So, for example, and I'll point to this one here, the sales and account management one. We've taken our CX sales solution, and this is a solution that we've deployed across many industries, but we're adding more we've added more sophisticated ways to manage relationships with large customers, which is a big thing for utilities, where we often have very complex account structures. And we're also adding new capabilities in the quotation engine to be able to manage complex bespoke energy quotations. With the one next to it around our agent service, once again, we've taken our existing leading offering in this space, but we've reimagined it for the sector, the energy and water sector. And we've done this by building really, really deep links into the metering and billing platform sitting behind it, which means agents have access to a really wide range of customer insights, but then also they have access to all this modern omni-channel enabled CRM stuff that comes with a proven solution, the proven horizontal solution sitting on top. Of course, linking into the back-end systems also and doing this in a productized way also helps to de-risk what is really a complex integration project for utilities. We've also got similar focuses across our other offerings in this space: marketing, communications, going beyond just sending bill reminders to really nurturing relationships and engaging with customers on specific programs. Product lifecycle management, the one down the bottom there. This is something we're currently working on. It's really an exciting area. It's one I'm working on it myself, actually. And this is around managing the life cycle of new offerings and bundles that you bring to market. And this is another, by the way, this is another big trend that we're seeing in the industry, that many utilities are diversifying their income revenue streams and going beyond simply offering water or going beyond simply offering energy and diversifying their revenue mix there. And finally, the final one that I'll point out here is around our energy efficiency and distributed energy resource engagement offerings. And this focuses on engaging with the customer around things like their electric vehicles and encouraging consumers to consume energy differently. So our approach and vision is to allow utilities to bring all these offerings, into an expandable yet modular platform that allows the creation of this larger connected customer experience.
Yeah, I love this. It's very powerful, and also I think it's really strong that this set comes sort of industry specific, pre-configured as a set, ready to go for someone who needs a smart and fast implementation.
Yeah, correct. No, you're right, Anita. And modular, I guess, is one of the key words I want to point out. We don't always want everything at once. And the other thing that we've been trying to draw out in today's session is that the customer experience doesn't occur in the application, okay? It occurs across the top here, the moments that matter, okay? So they don't occur within the solutions, but across them. And this is why we're trying to develop our modular solutions that provide connected end-to-end experiences to manage the entire life cycle of the customer, right from product ideation to targeted marketing through to commerce and account management for your large C&I customers, as an example, and then through to what we call proactive service. And to create these tasks and really build out these persona-based experiences that flow on the top here, we build on our common framework that leverages really the broad breadth and depth of Oracle's offering. And from this sense, we're quite fortunate to have a market-leading suite of utility products from our that provide the core back office functions such as rating, billing, collections, and also things like which is most relevant for the energy industry around distributed energy management. So things like how do you help consumers control and leverage their electric vehicle, their solar panels, and things like that. And that's an area particularly that is emerging very quickly and will show tremendous growth over the next 10 years. Of course, also in the marketing, sales, and service side, we're also able to leverage the horizontal functions that I mentioned before that come with our Fusion CX product. And underpinning this, we utilize a common data and analytics layer that gives all our experiences access to the same data sets across the transactional data, the customer data, the products data. And here's where the data really is the glue that allows these industry experiences to become connected experiences. And to bring all those components together and to allow us to offer these experiences as out-of-the-box solutions, we've developed our CX industry framework, and this is to help facilitate all the integration and data management required across this modular platform. Just sort of rounding out here, all of this runs natively on Oracle's cloud infrastructure that obviously has the benefits of performance and scalability and security that's absolutely required these days. And a point to re-emphasize, they haven't done it enough, is that these are all modular. We see a big picture here. It doesn't mean that a customer needs to take all of them. Indeed, our approach is very much to allow the business to start their journey based on their own priorities. They could want to simply enhance their current agent service capabilities, or maybe it's to focus on some key C&I account management capabilities. So wherever a utility starts, the common architectural framework hopefully ensures when new experiences are added, they're seamlessly choreographed to work together and underpinned by this consistent data model that really helps to glue it all together. And I guess, Anita, on that note, this is how we bring together all the connected data, the intelligence and experiences into a single solution, which hopefully enables you to deliver that customer experience that's compelling, consistent across every device, platform, and also provides that the right level of customer experience in the moments that matter. So,
Yeah.
thank you everyone for your time, Anita. Thank you very much.
No, I love it. And I feel like, unfortunately, we're out of time. We're slightly over, but I feel like there's so much to this topic. We could keep discussing this, I guess, for another hour and drill into the various aspects. Thank you so much, Nick, for sharing what you've shared. If anyone in the audience wants to touch base with Nick or myself or both of us for drilling into any of the topics what we've mentioned here today, please feel free to reach out or feel free to post something on this LinkedIn channel. We see the messages and we follow up over the next couple of days. And at that point, look, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Nick. There's a few things even I learned today out of this session. It was great to have you, and we catch up soon again.
Awesome. Thanks, Anita. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Nick. Talk soon.